at home today, wasn't at the game. You're probably feeling happy about the fact that you probably didn't travel to Craven Cottage. But what do you take away from that performance? How do you explain how bad we were?
I don't think there's any explaining or any justification for the way we played today. Yeah, I heard Barnaby before saying, yeah, he's trying to find justifications of, reasons why we lost. Van de Ven wasn't in the team, but I don't think that's any justification for the way we played. You saw in the first 15, 20 minutes how under the cosh we were. You bust through that defence and the midfield that we were playing today. And people want to blame like the usual culprits like Brennan Johnson and stuff like that, but every single player on that pitch today, bar maybe Romero, who I thought maybe had a slightly better performance than the rest of them, were absolutely dog shit basically today. And I was sitting there so frustrated. I thought as well, halfway through the first half, you saw signs that maybe Spurs were getting back into the game. We were starting to create a couple of chances. And then I thought when they scored their first goal, it was against the run of play. And then the second half, you're thinking, all right, Spurs going to kick on this second half. And it just went from bad to worse. And the second half was embarrassing. The whole performance, when you take everything, when you look at it objectively as a whole, it's a completely embarrassing performance. I thought it was our worst performance of the season. And on the back of our best performance of the season, like how can you justify that? It's ridiculous.
Yeah, for you, what do you think is going through Ange's head after that kind of game? Like, how do you think he rationalises that kind of game? Because, as you say, last week, we're all on such a high after what was a brilliant display. We thought we'd be coming into this game full of confidence after that game and really get ready to, like, take the top four by storm and like, go into put pressure on Villa, who are playing tomorrow. But it just the complete opposite happened, and we seemed to crumble a bit. And so players who've been so reliable, like Sarr, were just completely off it today. So, like, how do you think Ange is thinking? What do you think he's thinking after that kind of game?
I mean, I think Ange will probably look at it in a different way than maybe us as fans look at it. And I think Ange will be like, look, we're still in this. It's not all over. It's still only 2 points at the end of the day right now. You're looking at West Ham to do us a favour tomorrow, but look, there's still a lot of games to go and a lot of games that we can claw it back. So I don't think he will think it's an absolute disaster in terms of the outlook of the season. But the way I just look at it is just like it's always one step forward, 2 steps back with Tottenham. And it was just so classic Spurs today to put in a performance like we did against Aston Villa and then back it up like we did today. And what's annoying for me and what's disheartening for me is like players who usually step up for us every single time, like Destiny Udogie. He was embarrassing for that second goal. Pape Matar I thought was shocking today in terms of his ball playing ability. His passing success rate was terrible. Maddison, apart from that shot in the first half, I mean, I didn't see him do anything today. Bissouma I thought was poor. I thought Bentancur probably did more than all three midfielders put together when he came on. I thought he actually looked good when he came on, Bentancur.
Just a quick one before I let Barnaby step in. You said 1 step forward, 2 steps back. Ange said after the game today, he was put to him whether this game was 1 step forward, 2 steps back. He said it was more like 4 steps forward and 1 step back. So would you disagree with him?
Well, what does he mean by 4 steps forward? Why? Because are we 4 places above where we were last season? Like, what's he trying to say by that?
I don't know. That was his response. Like his response was more like we've made a lot of steps forward, and this is more of a setback rather than it's kind of. He quoted saying if it was 1 step forward and 1 step back would be 18th right now. That's what he said. He said it's more like 4 steps forward and 1 step back.
I'm not really sure what he's trying to get from that. I mean, I'm sure if it was 1 step forward and 1 step back, we're not going to be 18th in the league right now. But it's just a kick in the teeth. The way I'm not going to sit here and disagree with Ange Postecoglou. I love Ange, and I think this result doesn't make me change the way I think about Ange and the way that I think this club is going. And I still think we're going 100% in the right direction. It's just a massive kick in the teeth today. When me and you, Sim, were talking, weren't we, in the preview, saying there is no reason and no rhyme why we can't go in and put in a performance today against Fulham and get a result. There is no excuses to lose today. And I stand by that after seeing that.
Yeah, I mean, hi Ben, hope you are, mate. I just to go back to what you said about me trying to justify it, I guess really what I'm saying is I need to find a way to get through the next couple of weeks, so I find ways to try and justify it for myself. But I understand absolutely everything you're saying. I mean, I guess the only thing that's missing from you a little bit is, would you give any kind of credit to Fulham for how they kind of pressured us into our inability to play to our maximum potential?
Yeah, 100%. I give full credit to Fulham for the way they played today. I thought they were absolutely brilliant. They bossed us in so many areas of the pitch today. I thought Willian gave Pedro Porro so many problems down that left-hand side or down our right-hand side. And
yeah,
we just couldn't live with them at times. We really couldn't. They were cutting us open like a hot knife through butter at times, particularly in the early stage of the second half and the early stages of the first half. But I go back to it again. There's no excuse for that. Like, we should be stamping authority on a team that we are better than. And yes, Fulham are a very good team at Craven Cottage. They've beaten some top sides there. Arsenal have gone there and lost. We went in there and lost in the cup earlier in the season.
Yeah.
But it's no excuses to put in an abject and embarrassing performance as we did today. I didn't see any positives at all throughout that game. Maybe the only positives I can take is maybe Cuti Romero and Vicario. If they weren't there today, we probably concede another 2 or 3 goals. That's pretty much the only positives I can take. And maybe the substitutes, I thought Højbjerg and Bentancur looked good when they came on.
Yeah, I thought Vicario was excellent. Just want to say one thing, because I'm also looking at the comments a little bit, and obviously the Aston Villa fans suddenly, from the dead of the last 7 days, have suddenly come from nowhere. But also, I would just say to them, like, why didn't you play the way Fulham played? Why didn't you play on the front foot? Why didn't you get in our face? Because Fulham have shown there that we're not ready yet to always deal with that. So I think take a look at yourselves before you get into us. Anyway, sorry, Sim.
Yeah, I was going to ask, obviously one of the stories of today was Dragoshin making his first start. Obviously, we ended up losing 3-0, but what did you make of him individually today?
Wasn't that impressed, to be honest. I thought for the goal, he just left this man completely free at the back post, didn't track him, which was disappointing. I thought on the ball, he was okay at times, but I expected better from Dragoshin today. But look, I'm not going to lay into him too bad. It's his first start in a Spurs shirt. I thought his communication and maybe relationship on the pitch with Destiny Udogie on that left-hand side was pretty much clear that it was like their first game together, pretty much non-existent relationship from them on the pitch. So I think that will come over time. I'm not too worried about Dragoshin. I think I saw enough in that Villa game, and I saw a few good signs today in terms of ball playing ability, but in terms from a defensive point of view, I thought it was fairly poor today from him.
Yeah, no, I mean, I think he seemed in the first half pretty decent in the air, helping us kind of winning that first ball from corners, but then unfortunately couldn't get his head on the one for the goal that they scored from the corner. But I agree with you in that it's a little bit too early to completely judge someone who's not had the game time to acclimatise yet.
What do you think then, in terms of that performance? Does that change anything for you when it comes to the race for the top 4? Are you still confident of beating Villa to that spot, or does today's performance, make you reevaluate that?
I am still confident of beating Villa. I do think we're going to end up in the top 4. However, I think it's clear to see by everyone it's not going to be as cut and dry as maybe we thought after that Aston Villa game last week. We absolutely went to Villa Park. We played them off the park. We smashed them 4-0. And now Villa, if they win tomorrow at the London Stadium, it's pretty much put that performance and that result in vain. And that's the most frustrating thing about the whole situation. I do think with the run of fixtures that we have now, we've got an opportunity to still go on a run and get a few good results over the next 3 or 4 games. And Aston Villa do have hard games coming up. So I can see us finishing 4th, and I still expect us to finish 4th, but I don't think it's going to be maybe as easy as we all thought after that game at Aston Villa. I don't think maybe we're clear favourites, but I think we're slightly edging it right now. And all those Villa fans, coming out the woodworks right now, like, take a look at yourselves before you come at us. Go and win it at West Ham tomorrow first before you start coming and berating us. Like, you got absolutely terrorised last week.
All right, bro. Good to see you.
Top man.
Hopefully next time in better circumstances, but it won't be because it's going to be tomorrow when we talk about the game in even more depth. So I'm looking forward to that.
I tell you what, I actually just found the biggest positive today was that I forgot to apply for the away ticket today, and I got to watch it at home. Like that probably been worse than if I had to go to that game today. So I guess that was probably the biggest positive of the day. But yeah,
Absolutely.
I'll speak to you guys soon.
Top man.
Nice one,
See you
Ben.
later.
See you in a
Bye.
bit.